Welcome to this SkillByte, all about the Data Protection Act, or DPA for short. Now that you are working for one of the businesses in the rank group, it is important that you are aware of your responsibilities in respect of handling data. The objectives of today's SkillByte are to understand what data is and what forms data can come in, to review a case study, to gain an understanding of the 7 principles of DPA by the Information Commissioner's Office, to introduce your data controller, to look at situations and scenarios, and the do's and don'ts of the Data Protection Act. We are going to start by finding out what data is. Data is a term used to describe information. Personal data is any information relating to any persons. Now that we know what the definition of data is, let's think about what forms data comes in. Data comes in many forms. Some of the most obvious ones are statistics, images, symbols, numbers, facts, and characters. However, there are some less obvious ones, such as player records for attendance, CCTV, winnings, and audio recordings of members. These are the less subtle forms of data, but are equally as important. If there was a breach in the DPA, I want you to think about how much the minimum and maximum fine would be. Pick 2 options from the figures on screen. The answer will follow. Did you know the minimum fine for breach of the DPA is £5,000? The maximum fine is £500,000. High-profile cases of DPA breaches include Nursing and Midwifery Council for £150,000 and Sony for £250,000. To illustrate the seriousness in breaches of the DPA, let's look at one of these high-profile cases. In January 2013, entertainment giant Sony Computer Entertainment Europe had been hit with a monetary penalty of £250,000 from the Information Commissioner's Office. This was following a serious breach of the Data Protection Act. In summary, Sony PlayStation Network was hacked in April 2011. This compromised the personal information of millions of customers, including their names, addresses, email addresses, dates of birth, and account passwords. Customers' payment card details were also at risk. The ICO investigation found that the attack could have been prevented if the software had been up to date, while technical developments also meant passwords were not secure. Reasons for breaches like these include loss of DVDs and, in Sony's case, hacking in of network platforms. There are 7 principles of the Data Protection Act, and today we will be giving you a brief outline on each one. Principle 1. Processing personal data fairly and lawfully. Do not use any data that would adversely affect or harm individuals. Always tell people why you are collecting the data. Ensure that all personal data that you receive is processed fairly and lawfully. Principle 2. Processing personal data for specified purposes. In some instances, we need to collate data for specific reasons, such as age control, ensuring there is not underage gambling, complying with the Gambling Commission. Reasons could include ensuring we comply with the necessary regulators and monitoring any problem gambling. Customer management. This is used for marketing purposes. Principle 3. The amount of personal data you hold. Not only should you think about ensuring the data you hold is relevant and adequate, you should also make sure you do not hold excessive amounts of data. We don't need their inside leg measurement. Principle 4. Keep personal data accurate and up to date. Always consider why you are holding the data, and don't keep it for longer than necessary. It is up to the company to determine how long to keep data. There is no law to tell you the length of time, just a reasonable amount. Principle 5. Retaining personal data. Review how long you want to keep the data. There is no statutory requirement to keep personal data. The DPA does not set out any specific minimum or maximum periods for retaining personal data. Instead, it says that personal data processed for any purpose shall not be kept for longer than is necessary for that purpose. Reconsider the purpose for holding the data. Delete securely unnecessary data that is no longer required. Update and archive when necessary. Principle 6. The rights of the individuals, which also includes you. Remember, you, me, customers, everyone has the rights to access copies of information, object to processing it if it causes damage or distress, have inaccurate information destroyed, and claim compensation for damages. Principle 7. Information security. When people ask us for information, then you should take one of the following two options. If they are police, law enforcement, or a regulator, provide them with the information they require, make a written report of this on TESS or by email, and send to the data controller. Any other person, such as a customer, solicitor, or third party, refer them on to the data controller. To recap, the 7 principles are: processing personal data fairly and lawfully, processing personal data for specified purposes, the amount of personal data you may hold, keeping personal data accurate and up to date, retaining personal data, the rights of individuals, information security. Take a moment now and ask yourself, do you know who your data controller is? Your data controller is Sean Cunningham, Director of Security for the Rank Group. Did you get it right? Let's now look at the do's and don'ts of the Data Protection Act. Do tell people why you want their data. Do make sure the information being held is relevant. Do contact your regional security advisor or the data controller if you are unsure of anything. Don't use the data in a way that will adversely affect an individual. We are going to look at 4 different scenarios and show you how data must be handled in these situations.
Good afternoon, G Casino Reading. My name is Carolina. How can I help you?
Oh, hello. Yeah, it's DC Smith from Reading Police Station. I'm investigating quite a nasty assault that took place in the street outside your casino last night. I'm wondering, can I come down there and see your CCTV footage and see if I can take a copy of some of it, please?
Yes, of course, we can help you. If you come here with your ID, you can view our footage from last night and then decide what you need.
That's great. Do you need a form from me?
Not for this. If you come here, I can complete an internal form. We call them test reports. If your inquiry wasn't so active or you were not police, we get a lot of inquiries from lawyers. Then you would need to write to our data protection officer.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, that's lovely. I'll see you in an hour then.
You're welcome. See you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Sophie, I've had a letter from Leeds City Council. They're looking for names, addresses and national insurance numbers for every employee at Leeds Crossgates. It looks legal, but I'm just not comfortable giving out that much information. What do you think?
It is a legal request, but we still need to decide if it's fair and proportionate. They can ask for details of specific employees, but they shouldn't go on a fishing trip and ask for details of everyone. Why don't you check with the data protection supervisor?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that.
Good evening, can I help you?
I hope so. I'm wondering if Julie Smith was in last night.
Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to tell you one way or the other. We're not allowed to give out that information.
Problem is, my dear, you see, she's my mother, and we think she's got Alzheimer's. Being a carer, I'm concerned, and we need to try and monitor her movements. Is it not possible for you to?
I appreciate that, and I feel sorry for your mother, but unfortunately, no. Police, Gaming Commission is all I could tell. But if you phone the data protection officer, they may well be able to help you.
Okay, so they're the best point of contact for me. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your help. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Okay, I've finished my national borrowings for the day. Time for tea. Would you like a cup?
I'd love a cup, please. A decent cup this time.
Always decent, my tea.
Don't forget, Control-Alt-Delete.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry. Control-Alt-Delete, lock. Thank you for reminding me.
During your employment, you will all come into contact with personal data. It is important that you handle it correctly and do not share it with anyone outside of the rank group. If you are asked for data, then ask the advice of a manager before you do anything. In extreme cases, seek advice from the data controller by reporting the matter through tests. Once you have watched this SkillByte, you'll need to sign the certificate of attendance, which can be obtained from your team coach, training officer, or HR department. Alternatively, you can download your certificate using one of the following methods. Scan the QR code on screen now using your smartphone, or type the link below into your web browser to download. Once completed, please return this to your team coach or training officer. If you are based in Support Office or Victoria, please return to Wendy Mitchell at Maidenhead. Thank you for taking part in this SkillByte all about the Data Protection Act.